Hello everyone, welcome to the Study Spectrum TV channel, and today we are going to start with chapter 9, Reproduction in Animals. So students, let us start with the characteristics of living beings. So what are those characteristics? These are: they grow, they move, they respire, they reproduce, they age and they die. So a very important characteristics is one of all these are they reproduce. So students, if you recall all the processes of living beings in your previous class, as we had discussed about digestion, respiration, circulation and excretion. So all these life processes are very important and essential for the survival of an individual. Even a single system does not work properly, an organism can die. So because of all these processes are very important for the survival of life. However, if we talk about the reproduction, so it is not essential for the survival of an individual. So why it is important and what is its role in the life of living organisms? So students, we all know that all the organisms and living beings live on this earth for a certain period of time. Their time period is limited. It starts from their birth to a death of an organism, and this is called its lifespan. So what we have seen that they come here for the limited period of time. It means that however, some living beings live for a short period of time, wherever some live for the long period of time. But their time period is limited. After that, they die. So think what would happen if living new individuals do not produce from their parents. What would happen? The earth would become a barren place. There would be no life on this earth. So because of that, the living organisms multiply in a multiple ways so that their species can continue on this earth. So we can say that ability of individuals to produce its offspring of its own kind is called the reproduction. So here they reproduce because their species does not perish from the earth. Now, if we discuss about the reproduction, so it is in itself made up of two words. One is re and another one is production. So what is the meaning of re? Means again, and production means produce. It means they reproduce their organisms. And another important word is its own kind. It means they produce their own species so that their species can continue from generation to generation. As it doesn't mean that cow can give birth to a monkey or a cat can give birth to a dog. They maintain their own species from one generation to next generation to further. So that's why reproduction is a very important part of the living organisms. Now, what are the modes of reproduction? So students, let us do one activity. Just make a chart. For this, just write the name of few animals and their babies. So what we can see, if we talk about the young one of human, they are babies. Cat, kitten, dog, puppies. And if we talk about the butterfly, caterpillar, frog, moth. So what we have seen that every individual produce of its own kind. Now, what are the modes of reproduction? So if you recall of your class 7th reproduction in plants, where we had discussed about the modes of reproduction, that it is of two types, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So just as in plants, animals also reproduce by two modes. One is asexual reproduction and another one is sexual reproduction. So students, let us start with the sexual reproduction. So students, if we recall of class 7th reproduction in plants and their sexual reproduction, what we have seen that their reproductive part was separate. one is male and another reproductive part is female. And if you recall, their gametes, male reproductive part produces the male gamete and female reproductive part produces the female gamete, and their fusion is called the sexual reproduction. So what is sexual reproduction? In which fusion of male and female gamete takes place. So same is in animals also. Male reproductive part releases the male gamete and female reproductive part releases the female gamete. But in plant, what was the male gamete? So it was the stamen. And if we talk about the female reproductive part, it was the pistil or carpel. So here same is here in animals also. Here also male and reproductive part of human beings are separated. Male reproductive parts produces male gametes, that is sperm, and female reproductive parts releases female gametes, that is ovum or egg. So students, let us start with the reproductive part of male human being. So what it includes? It includes a pair of testes, 2 sperm duct and 1 penis. So it was all about the reproductive part of human being. Now what is its role? So if we talk about the testis, so testis is an endocrine gland, and when a male reaches at the age of puberty, it is stimulated by the pituitary gland, and because of that it releases a sex hormone that is called the testosterone. Now other than there is a sperm duct. So what is its role? So they are narrow ducts and they carry the sperm that is releases by the testis. Now along with this there are many glands which also secrete some fluids. So this is called the semen. And what happens there? Semen mixed with the sperm and it forms a fluid that is called the semen. Now another one is penis. So what is its role? It's transferred the semen along with the sperm to the female body. So it was all about the structure of male reproductive organ and their functions. Now if we talk about the sperm, so testis releases a millions of sperm at a time, and each and every sperm is divided into 3 parts, that is cell, that is head, middle piece and tail, and they are single cell but consist all the cell components. So students, let us talk about the female reproductive part. So if we talk about the female reproductive part, it includes a pair of ovaries, oviduct or fallopian tube and uterus. So let us start with the ovary. So students, there are 2 ovaries present in a female reproductive part, and these are called these are also the endocrine gland. So each ovary has the, you can see that it is like a almost of a almond shape, and when a girl reaches at the age of puberty, these ovaries are stimulated by the pituitary gland and releases the ovum. So it was all about the ovaries. Now oviduct or fallopian tube. So what is its role? So it carries the ovum that is releases from the ovary for the fertilization. Now last, uterus. So students, as we all know that fusion of male and female gamete takes place in sexual reproduction. So here zygote matures and grow till it is ready to be born. That is zygote, then embryo, in which we can see the tissues and different organs of the body present. So this stage is called the embryo, and then it is further developed to a fetus in which all the body part can be identified easily. So complete baby growth takes place inside the uterus. So it was all about the female reproductive part. Now fertilization. So if we start with the fertilization, so it is the first process of reproduction. What happens here? here male and female gametes fuse to form a single cell zygote. So what happens here, when a sperm comes in a contact with the ovum, one of the sperm get fused with the ovum and form a zygote. So here we have seen that testis releases a millions of sperms, but what happens, only one sperm get fused with the ovum. Now it results in the fertilized egg, that is called the zygote, and this process is called the fusion of male and gamete. This act is called the fertilization. Now if we talk about the zygote, so you know that it is a first process of forming of the new individual, that is a single cell zygote. So it was students, it was all about the fertilization. But what happens here, a male gamete is released by the reproductive part of the father, and if we talk about the female gamete, it is releases by the female reproductive part, that is mother. So students, what happens here, a new individual shows the characteristics of both the parents. They show the resemblance with their father as well as mothers. So if you see your siblings or your younger brothers, cousins, you can see that they shows the characteristics of both the parents. Few characteristics similar to their father and few to their mother. So it was all about the how new individuals look like. Now here a very important characteristic, that is fertilization. Here if we talk about the fertilization, internal fertilization takes place inside the female body. So what happens if a fertilization takes place inside the female body? This is called the internal fertilization. Now if we talk about, there is one important character of fertilization is external fertilization. So what happens there? It mostly takes place in the aquatic animals like fishes, frogs, starfish. So what happens there? Here if we start with the example of frog. So when it comes a rainy season or spring seasons, so nearby pond or low flowing streams, the frogs or toads reach there, and when they come together, so what happens? Female releases a lot of cluster of eggs. They can be in hundred of numbers. But what kind of eggs these are? They do not have any protective covering. They do not have any shell, as we can see in a hen's egg. They are protected by the jelly, which provides the protection to these eggs and protect it from the injury. Now when a female frog lays the eggs, sperm is released by the male frog. Now these sperms are very active and they swim randomly in the water, and when they come in the contact with eggs, they fertilize the egg. So what we have seen here, here fertilization takes place outside the female body. So it was about the external fertilization. So students, if we see here, we have seen that fertilization means the fusion of male and female gametes, and it can be of two types, internal fertilization and external fertilization. So if we talk about the internal fertilization, it takes place inside the female body, and external fertilization takes place outside the female body. So it was all about the fertilization. Now if we talk about the animals like viviparous animals and oviparous animals, so students, if you recall, there you would have seen many young ones of different animals like kitten of cat, puppies of dogs, babies of human beings, and so what are those? These are the animals which produce their young ones are called the viviparous. Mostly mammals comes in this category like dogs, cows, cats, elephant, human being. They give birth to their young ones. That's why they are called the viviparous. But there is an exception also, Like if we talk about the platypus or anteater animal, it is mammal but they lay their eggs. So here we have discussed about the viviparous animals. Now what are the oviparous animals? So the animals which hatch the eggs and their young ones come out from the eggs are called the oviparous animals. Like many reptiles, aquatic animals, birds, they hatch the eggs. That's why they come in the category of oviparous animals.
No more spending your energy and money on coaching classes or missing classes for rain, for rally and any other nonsense. Subjects covered by multiple teachers with repeat telecasts. Doubts, concepts, applications, no problem. All explained through great and significant animation. So sit back comfortably in your home and watch Study Spectrum TV channel.
Now, development of an embryo. Now, as earlier we had discussed about the zygote. So, it was the first process of new individual. Now, this zygote divides repeatedly and form a ball of cells. Now, what happens? These ball of cells begin to form group and they further develop into tissues and different organs of the body. Now, this stage in which we can observe the tissues and different organs of the body is called the embryo. Now, this embryo get embedded in the wall of the uterus and further development takes place inside the uterus only. That's why it is also called the womb of the mother. Now, what happens? This embryo gradually develops a different body parts like eyes, nose, legs, ears. So, the stage in which we can identify the embryo with their body parts is called the fetus. Now, fetus further developed and completed the body. So, when a complete fetus changes to a baby, mother gives birth to the baby. So, it was all about the development of embryo. Now students, if we talk about the internal fertilization, so it is also takes place in hens. So do they give birth their young ones? No, as we all know that they lay eggs. So what happens there? Soon after fertilization, zygote divides and it travels down to oviduct. As what happens when as it travels down, many protective layer formed around it, and after what do you see when you see the egg of hens? You can see that there is a hard shell. So it is that protective layer of the egg. Now what happens? These hard shell formed around developed embryo, and after that when our embryo developed inside the female body, hence lays their eggs. So what we have seen that here embryo develops inside the female body, then hen lays its egg. So these embryo takes at least 3 weeks to develop into a chicks. Now if you are talking about the development of chicks, so it takes place inside the shell where embryo develops into a chicks. Now after some time when a chicks completely developed, these eggs get burst and chicks coming out from the shell. So here we have seen that internal fertilization in hens, where we have seen that development of embryo takes place inside the female body. But if we talk about the development of embryo in eggs of frogs, so what happens here? Development of embryo takes place outside the female body. So here external fertilization takes place. Now here we have discussed about the internal fertilization in human beings and hens, and what we have seen that it is of two types: internal fertilization and external fertilization. Internal fertilization takes place in mammals and hen, And external fertilization takes place in aquatic animals like fish, starfish and frogs. Now viviparous animals and oviparous animals. So students, if we talk about the viviparous animals, so as we have seen that many animals give birth to their young ones. As we talk about the cats, they give birth to kitten, dogs baby, puppy, cows, calf, human beings, babies. So what we have seen that they give birth to their young ones. So that's why they are called the viviparous. Mostly mammals comes in this category like cow, dog, cats, elephants, lion, human beings. All these come in the category of viviparous animals. But there are few exceptions, like if we talk about the platypus and anteater. So they are mammals but they lay their eggs. Now oviparous animals. So what are the oviparous animals? So animals which lays their eggs and their newborn comes from the hatched eggs are called the oviparous. Mostly birds, lizards, aquatic animals, amphibians comes in the category of oviparous animals. Now young ones to adult. So students, you would have seen many young ones of many animals like kitten, puppies, babies of human beings, calves and butterfly. So what are those? These young ones completely resembles to their adults. We can easily identify that this young one will one become to a human being, or if we see kitten, we can say that one day it will become to a cat, or if we say puppies, what happens? We can say that one day it will become a dog. But there are few animals, insects and frogs, they do not resemble to their adult. So if you recall the life cycle of silkworm, what is their life cycle? Eggs, then it changes to caterpillar, then pupa, and then suddenly a beautiful moth emerge out from the pupa. So can we say that this pupa is the young one of this butterfly or moth? No, they do not resemble to their parents. Other than this, if we talk about the life cycle of frogs, so what we can see that frog lays the eggs and then early tadpole and then late tadpole, then suddenly you can see the adult frog. So they also do not resemble to their parents. Like if we talk about the tadpoles, they resemble to the fishes. They have gills, they swim in water, they do not have legs, they cannot jump. But if you see the frog, it is completely different from the tadpole. So what happened to those caterpillar, pupa or tadpole? Now students, if you see the life cycle of silkworm, what we can see that eggs changes to caterpillar, then caterpillar changes to pupa, and then a beautiful moth emerges out from it. Now if you see the life cycle of frog, we can see that eggs, then it is changes to early tadpole, then late tadpole, and then frog. Here what we can see that the young ones are totally different to their adults. If we talk about the silkworm, what we have seen that pupa changes to the adult moth. And if you see the frog, then here we have seen that tadpole changes to an adult frog. So what happens in the life cycle of many insects and frog, they undergoes to a series of changes. And why it happens? There is a hormone responsible for it, that is called the thyroxine. So the transformation of larva into an adult through a drastic changes is called the metamorphosis. We can see this kind of changes into the frogs and many insects. Firstly they change. If we talk about the insects, eggs changes to caterpillar, then pupa, then insects. Now frog, it is eggs changes to tadpole, that is early tadpole and late tadpole, and then an adult frog. So in these kind of animals, metamorphosis takes place, and in which a young one goes through a series of changes, and this process is called the metamorphosis. Now students, here we have discussed about the sexual reproduction in animals. We have discussed about the male reproductive part and female reproductive part of the human beings. We have discussed about the male reproductive part, that is, it includes the pair of testes, 2 sperm ducts and penis. And then we had discussed about the female reproductive part, that is, it includes ovary and oviduct and uterus. Now if we discuss about the male reproductive part, that is testis, so it is a kind of endocrine gland which is stimulated when a man reaches at the age of puberty, and a female, there is a ovary, that is a female endocrine gland, and when a girl reaches at the age of puberty, it is stimulated by the pituitary gland to release the sex hormone, that is called the estrogen. So it was all about the male reproductive organ and female reproductive organ. Then we had discussed about the fertilization, and other than this we have seen that a gamete which is produced by the male reproductive part is sperm, and the gamete which is produced by the female reproductive part is the ovum. Then they fuse and form a zygote, and this act is called the fertilization. Then we have seen that fertilization can be of 2 types: internal fertilization and external fertilization. In internal fertilization, fertilization takes place inside the female body, and if we talk about the external fertilization, it takes place outside the female body. Then we had discussed about the animals of viviparous animals and oviparous animals. So the animals which give birth to their young ones are called viviparous, and the animals which lay their eggs are called the oviparous. Now asexual reproduction. It is the another mode of reproduction that is takes place in living beings. So if we talk about the asexual reproduction, what is it? It means a new individuals are formed from their single parent. Now what happens there? These new individuals are identical to their parent because they do not inherit any characteristics of other parent. They just inherit the characteristic of their single parent. That's why they are identical to their parent. So if we talk about the asexual reproduction, there are few examples. Like if we take the example of Hydra. So students, if you see the permanent slide of Hydra, what you can see that there are 1 or more bulges are present on the Hydra's body. So these bulges are called the buds. Now these buds get detached from the parent body and form a baby Hydra, that is a new individual, and this new individual is completely identical to their parent. So this kind of asexual reproduction is called the budding. If you can recall, the budding takes place in the yeast cell, as earlier we had discussed about the reproduction in plants. Now if you other than this, there is a microorganism, amoeba. So what kind of microorganism? It is a microscopic organism which we can get nearby ponds, ditches and lakes. So how reproduction takes place in amoeba? So what happens there? Here division of nucleus takes place, and these nucleus divided into 2 nuclei, and this is followed by the division of its body. So and this body divided into 2 parts, and each part receives the nucleus, and finally 2 amoebas are produced from a single parent. So it was all about the asexual reproduction, in which we have seen that new individuals are formed from their single parent, and they are identical to their parent, as we had discussed about the Hydra, where bulges coming out from their body and they get detached from the body of the Hydra and form a new individual, or we can say the baby Hydra. And if we talk about the amoeba, what happens here? Nucleus divided into 2 nuclei, and it is followed by the partition of their body, and each part of the body receives the nucleus and the two amoebas are formed. So here it was all about the asexual reproduction. So students, let us start with the quick revision of this chapter, reproduction in animals. So students, as we had discussed about the characteristics of living beings, where we have seen that there is one more important characteristics of living beings, that they reproduce. So here we had discussed about what is its important, why it is important. So we all know that all living beings come on this earth for certain period of time. There is a fixed life span from their birth to the natural death of an organism. So because they come on this earth for a certain period of time, so what would happen if their new individuals were not produced from their parents? So earth will become a barren place. So because of that, these living beings multiply in a multiple ways and they form their own kind.